Hello, everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of the Bracket Busters podcast. We're your hosts. My name is Owen Rosen.
My name's Max Moskowitz.
And I'm Jake Sauber, and today we're going to be talking about our picks for the five best games in college basketball this week. We've got Kansas versus Arizona, Kansas versus Iowa State, Nebraska versus Purdue, Clemson versus Duke, and Gonzaga versus Santa Clara. And we're going to be taking in a deep dive into all five of them. So let's get started with Kansas, Arizona.
All right, Max, who do you have and why?
Okay, so I don't really have a straightforward answer to this question because I think when it comes to Arizona, or more so, sorry, when it comes to Kansas, I think everyone thinks of the same thing, the same player, the same problem. Darren Peterson. He's by far the best player in the nation. I think this is by far fact now. But we saw against BYU, they were still able to hold on. He clearly has, I don't know if it's a clear minute restriction or if it's just anytime there's a cramp, they take him out. I look down at it. You look at the BYU game with Darren Peterson, they shot 64% from the field, 75 for three. Without 50% from the field, not going to complain about that, but 20% for three. If he plays over 25 minutes, this, in my opinion, is a Kansas win. I think Arizona has made they are by far the best team in the nation, in my opinion. But it has to come to an end eventually. I think this is where it comes to an end. Again, if Darren Peterson does not play, I said it at 25 minutes. They lost to UCF, UConn, Duke. They were hardly able to beat NC State. TCU, they had to sub him back in there at the end. This is a game that relies solely on Darren Peterson. If Darren Peterson does not play more than 25 minutes, this is another Arizona win. They continue to win. In my opinion, if we get to see Darren Peterson like we saw him today against Utah, earlier in the week against Texas Tech, even when he's struggling, with him on the court, they're a top 10 team in the nation, and they will get this win.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you. I kind of have the exact same mentality. If Darren Peterson is playing, I think if he plays at all, if he plays around 20 minutes or more, kind of the same like threshold that you set, that they're going to win. The only real issue that I have with Kansas is Darren Peterson not playing, which I think he will play. And also the home court advantage for Kansas is just so it's just so vast. They don't lose a lot of games at home. In the BYU game, one of the biggest reasons why everyone was taking Kansas on sports books and everything was because they just don't lose at home. They're, in my opinion, have very sneaky 3-point shooters. Darren Peterson is a 43% 3-point shooter. Trey White is a 44%, and Jamari McDowell is a 39% 3-point shooter. I'm thinking if they can shoot the three, if they're making their shots, if those three players are playing and healthy, that this will be a Kansas win. And honestly, I don't think it will be a close one like other people have it if Darren Peterson is playing.
To jump back off you with Trey White, and I know you didn't bring him up because he's not a three-point shooter, Francis Badunga. I think with Darren Peterson missing all those games, in the long run, it's going to make them a better team. They know how to play without him, whether that's him coming out for 5 minutes, him in foul trouble. But if you look at it at the start of the season, that game against UNC, I know that was the first week of the season, they were not playing as a team. They were giving the ball to Darren, and they were watching him do what he does because it really is a fun thing to do, but not when you are on the Kansas basketball team. Trey White has been an amazing player. Badunga, like this is a real team, a real legit shot to win it all.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually take the opposite side of this. I'm gonna go with Arizona. Right now they're currently beating up on Oklahoma State. They're winning 69-32 while shooting 0 for 7 from three. And I'm taking Arizona because they're just such a balanced team. They have not one single scorer. They don't have one single X factor, but they're all big. They're all very athletic. They all can rebound. They all can crash the glass, and they could get just enough buckets, I think, to beat Kansas. And that's why they're the best team in the country. I think they're the most balanced team. I think they're going to be undefeated for the foreseeable future.
I do. It really does hurt me to pick against them because, like you said, they don't need the three-pointer. They really remind me of an old school basketball team. You have Jaden Bradley. He's just a point. He's a point guard. He's a floor general. He's not looking to score on every possession. Braden Burris, he's a free 15 points every single game. Koa Pete, Krivos down low. This is a team that they can beat you down. They can outscore you like they did against BYU. This is just it really is hard for me, but I do think Darren Peterson can get them that win over this God-given powerful team.
Yeah, so let's move on to Kansas at Iowa State, because Kansas, if they beat Arizona, they are going to be widely recognized as one of the best teams in the country, a top 5 team. And if you could take down number 1, you can really beat anyone. I'll start with this one. In my opinion, if they beat Arizona, which I predict they will also beat Iowa State. But another thing, Darren Peterson has to play. Darren Peterson, if he just keeps using his body, his legs aren't strong enough to fight through it. And when you're playing 2 very, very good teams back to back in Arizona and Iowa State, it's hard to have that stamina and just continue to go. The only edge I would give to Iowa State is the home court advantage, because in college basketball, in top 20 teams, even in teams that are nowhere recognized in the national perspective, the home court advantage is always huge. For their fans always come, it's always loud, and it always affects how people play. I mean, I think if Kansas survives at Arizona and could beat Arizona at home, I think the confidence is just going to carry over into the Iowa State game.
To really, put an exclamation mark on what you mean with the home court advantage, there's a reason why net ranking expands down to 75 when you go on the road. It is a very tough place to play anywhere. Nonetheless, a top 7 team in the Big 12 who has 2 players, and these 2 players, that's what I'm going to go into right now because we just talked about Kansas. Joshua Jefferson, he is not getting nearly enough attention across the nation. He is so good, but the fact that he plays for Iowa State, right? Who lives in Amos, Iowa? I don't know anyone. I know Owen doesn't. I know Jake doesn't. Nothing happens there. I think they have some math competitions there. That's it. Only thing that happens there is all their players transfer to Penn State for football. Okay, then another guy that doesn't get enough attention, Milan Moslavakic. I don't know how to pronounce that. I got it wrong.
It's Momcilovic.
Momcilovic. Okay. 54% from 3. Okay. You ask like 90% of fans, I don't think they know who he is. And he averages 19, 55 from the field, 54 from 3. With that being said, Darren Peterson plays more than 25 minutes. This will be an amazing game. If it is not, I'm going to go the exact opposite direction of you, Owen. This will be a boat race. Iowa State will beat the crap out of them. Go Cyclones.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Owen here. I think Kansas gets the dub. Kansas beat Iowa State by 21 in their last meeting. They're too athletic. I just don't think Iowa State can keep up with them. They have some shooters, but still don't think they could keep up. I also don't think a Bill Self team's going to lose 2 games in a row, but I also don't think they're going to win 2 games in a row. And I think that Kansas is going to split one of these 2 games. They're going to either beat Zona and lose to Iowa State, or they're going to lose to Zona and beat Iowa State.
Wait, can we just talk about that comment about?
Okay, so they're not allowed to win 2, but they're not allowed to lose 2. Because last time I checked, they've won 7 in a row. Might be wrong.
You're right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, they've won 7 in a row.
Seems like it's more than 2.
Yeah.
No, but I'm just saying, like, I don't see them winning 2 games in a row against these.
Against top teams. Yeah.
Against these 2
teams.
I
you should probably add that one next.
No. That's what I meant.
Wait. They just won 2 against BYU and Texas Tech. Is that not 2 challenging games?
I don't agree with that point about Bill Self's team in general, but yeah, they
also,
just
I don't understand the
Texas,
fact bringing Bill Self there.
Yeah,
he's a great coach. Just because he's going through some health problems doesn't mean that he can not win 2 tough games in a row.
Yeah, he's one of the most pristine coaches in all of college basketball currently, and just in general on lists of all time. Like, you beat a team of Texas Tech that's ranked 13th in the nation by 3 points, but also the week before you're beating BYU, the 16th best team, by 8 points. Like, they can clearly win versus 2 top teams in a row, and they
add on to that,
to do it.
About that Texas Tech game, that was the worst they've played in a very long time. Kansas did not play a good basketball game. 15 turnovers, that's terrible. And they still win. You hold a guy who undoubtedly, in my mind, is a top 10, if not top 5 player in the nation, JT Toppin, to 5 for 18 from the field. It's horrid. That's really bad. And yet they do it. This is a real team. Badunga's down low. You got Trey White. You got Darren Peterson. This is a team that, if I'm going to be honest, if they don't make the Elite 8, I'd consider it a disappointment.
And also, to be honest about Trey White, I think Trey White should be getting similar recognition nationally as Darren Peterson. I think they're both incredible players who will both be very successful NBA players as well. I think even if Darren Peterson can't get his legs to be a little bit stronger, that Trey White could even be better than him in the NBA. But that's a conversation for just another.
Also, wait, can I just say one more thing? We have, both of us, this is just slipped through the cracks. We have not mentioned Melvin Council's name once. He is a dog. Once he gets going down the hill, you can't stop him. He's going to hit you with a Euro. He's going to lay that thing up, and that's a bucket every single time.
Yeah, I mean, let's move on to Purdue at Nebraska. Nebraska's been one of the most fun teams to watch in all of college basketball this year. So, Jake, why don't you get started with your pick?
Yeah, so I've watched a lot of both Purdue and Nebraska this year, just being a fan of the team in the Big Ten, and Nebraska.
The worst team.
I guess Oregon's pretty bad this year, but I guess Northwestern is always bad.
Yeah, but, they're just always bad.
Through the first 20 games, they were 20-0, and they kind of almost like had this magic to them. Like they couldn't be stopped. Everything was going their way. And then they lose a close game at Michigan, and then they lose at home for the first time against Illinois. And I think they really struggled with Illinois' size and their athleticism, and I think it's going to be similar to Purdue. I don't see how Nebraska can contain Oscar Clough and Trey Kaufman-Renn while still protecting the perimeter against Lawyer and Smith. And I'm going to give the Boilermakers the win.
Yeah, I fully see your sign. And, someone who, I've gone to many games down there in Lincoln. There's nothing else to do in Lincoln, Nebraska. And Nebraska is a state. If you're in Omaha, the only thing you're there to do is go to a Creighton game. They sell out every single game. Same thing with Nebraska. That place is packed. If you watch that game against Illinois at home or Michigan State over a month ago now, the place is fully red. It's a Red Sea. And, I fully agree with the way they play. I think my way to sum up how they play is they look like UC San Diego did last year in March Madness. They are going to chuck threes up. Then they're going to dive for the ball. They're going to steal the ball, and then they're going to dive and dive. But that game against Illinois, they did get out-handled. But my main thing that really gives me hope is you have a guy, Rink Mast. He was in the hospital. That's why he didn't play against Michigan. I think if he played in that one, or Braden Fager, they win that one. But now against Illinois, Rink Mast put a abysmal game. I think he had 0 points up until 5 minutes left in the game, which they were already down double digits. And, again, this Illinois team and Michigan team, they are both very special teams. Keaton Wagler, I know we're not talking about them. Keaton Wagler, if you were to tell him 2 months ago that he's a top 10 pick, I don't even think he would believe it. He's so good. Michigan, they're so big that you can't even compare their size to Purdue. And my thing defensively, you look at the game against UCLA or Indiana for Purdue, they let teams shoot threes. And Nebraska wants to shoot three. So I think that is a big-time Nebraska ball win.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you, Max. I love this Nebraska team, and I actually never thought about that comparison to UC San Diego, but it's true because they have about 5 guys who are shooting over 38.8% from three, which is very, very good. The worst is 38.8 out of them, and the best is 100. I'm guessing it's a sample size, but that player still does play 11 minutes. But other than that, there's a 41%, their best player, who he's shooting 41%. His name's Price Sandfort. I think that's
Price Sandfort. He's
Sandfort. Yeah, he's an incredible three-point shooter, incredible player in general. He has experience. He's a junior already, and he's just playing amazing. I think it's to be a comfortable win for Nebraska. I don't really see Purdue putting up that much of a fight, and I think it's just because Nebraska's, in my opinion, just a better team at this point. In the past couple of weeks, they've been a better team. I think Nebraska controls the tempo in this game with the three-point shooting. I think it will start off a closer game than I think, but towards the end, it will just get out of hand. And I think that Nebraska just has the depth. They can have a hot streak, and teams that can shoot this well, this is where we see brackets get busted in March Madness when teams are just shooting threes and making them. Like, you just see that happening, and that's why I think Nebraska, even though they are a top 10 team in the country, I think that they're one of the best teams and could go far in March Madness. So I think that Purdue just can't match the efficiency of Nebraska, and it will lead to Nebraska winning.
I really like Sanford, but I'm going to zoom in on my favorite player on Nebraska, the coach's son, Sam Hoiberg. He doesn't do anything amazing. He does everything well. If you looked at the box scores of this game, you would assume he's like a 6'8" like football linebacker. This kid. He looks like he's a janitor. He's 6'1". He averages 9.4 points, 5 assists, 4 assists, 5 boards, a steal. He's not a good 3-point shooter, but he still takes them. If the ball is on the ground and he does not dive for it, he must be injured. He is diving for everything. He's willing to put his body on the line, and that's what you need when you're undersized, less athletic than the opponent. And that is why Nebraska ball is going to keep rolling. They got a nice punching bag win over Rutgers today, and now I think they're back.
Also, Sam Hoiberg is 6', 185. Like, he is a small player.
guy.
Like, yeah, he's small. He's shorter than me, Max. Jake, not shorter than you, but still, compared to, like, he's a short guy and he's still balling, and it's just amazing to see. But let's move on to the ACC. We got Clemson at Duke. To be honest, when we chose these games, this is one that just didn't really speak to me. I don't know why we really chose it. I think Duke.
What do you
blows
hey,
us.
put some respect on Clemson?
I'm not putting Clemson lost to Georgetown, which I'm a fan of, and this season can't even lie. If you lost to
When was that game? When was that game? They have not lost a road game since then. They've not.
But you're also
lost a
playing
road
at
game
Duke.
since.
You're also playing at Duke. It's
I agree with
hard.
that here. I
think
don't
Duke
see
is-
a world where Clemson
No.
would.
I fully agree with you guys, but you disrespecting Clemson like that, I guarantee you would have said the same thing last year. If you looked at it 340 days ago from that game, Cooper Flagg walked into that. They were 20-2, they were 18-5. Oh my God, Jesus Christ. They were 21-4, number 4 in the AP. This year, they're 20-2, number 2. Clemson last year, 18-5, 22 in the AP. This year, 19-4, 20. This is a very similar game. Very similar. They have a National Player of the Year at the forward. They're the heavy favorites for the ACC championship. They have the heavy favorite for the National Player of the Year. I don't know. I'm not. And Clemson has proven they swept the Pacific. That's stupid. I don't know how that's still part of the ACC. That should not be a thing. Cal should not be in the ACC. But it's called the Atlantic Coast. It's called the Atlantic Coast, and the Cal's in it.
Yeah, you're not writing off Clemson is basically what you're saying. You're not going to write them off. You think there's still a chance they win, but I just feel like it's different tiers. Like there's tiers to this sport. There's the Duke tier where Duke, Arizona, and all of those players. Then there's a bunch of people in the middle, and then there's like Clemson and schools like that. I just don't view Clemson as a team that can go to Duke and win versus a team like this Duke team that's just been dominating this entire season. It's just there's such a big talent gap. I don't think it's possible.
If it was at Clemson, it would be such a different story too. But I just feel like Clemson just can't come into Duke and do that. I feel like they can pull a miracle at home.
Like Clemson would literally need to have the perfect night, shooting wise, rebounding wise. No one getting into foul trouble to win this game. They can't compete with a team like Duke. That's just how I feel about it.
It doesn't even matter if Duke gets in foul trouble, to even be honest.
Yeah, like Duke has such a deep team. Their best player is the best player in the entire college basketball and entire he's just dominant, and they have no one to stop him. It's not going to be a close game.
Yeah, I really would love to go out here and disagree with you, but they don't. Clemson, you look at them, they don't have any 1A guys. Their really only hope of this is just the fact that they have a great coach who really no one talks about. I think when you really look at it the past few years, Clemson has really been cementing themselves as a solid basketball program. Brad Bonwell, I'm not going to say he's an amazing coach, okay? I'm going to say he's a coach that knows his limits. He knows that he doesn't have these 5 stars. He doesn't have Cam Boozer. He doesn't have Cooper Flagg. He has players that can make shots, and he makes sure the players know what shots they can make. Last year, when they beat Duke, they only shot 10 threes. That's what they need to do. They need to stay in their own game if they want any shot of winning. This will be a huge upset, but, I really don't see a world where it happens.
All right, let's move on to the game of the week quoted by Max. Santa Clara versus Gonzaga. Max, take it away.
Okay, so, I got in some hate from my fellow hosts here for this game, but I think when you hear the game Gonzaga-Santa Clara, first off, I get chills. but I don't think most people do. I don't think most people realize that Santa Clara is a top 40 team in the net. We're talking about a team that if the season ended right now, they would be comfortably in the field of 68. Not to even mention the fact that they do technically lead the WCC because both Gonzaga, after that upset loss to Seattle, they both have one loss. You know, we did see this matchup already, 11-point win for Gonzaga. But Santa Clara did not play their best game. They turned the ball over more than they usually do. They shot 26% from three. They usually sit around 34. Their top three guys, scoring-wise, Graves, Christian Hammond, and Elijah Mahi, who are all above 35.6% from three, combined 1 for 8. Like, I don't know. At home, I think the Broncos really have room to improve. Obviously, this Gonzaga team is very good. 2 losses this season, one a absolute blowout during the Players' era to Michigan, and then just earlier this week against Seattle. But what I want to do is I want to compare this St. Mary's team, this Santa Clara team, the team trying to dethrone Gonzaga, to last year's St. Mary's, the team that upset Vanderbilt in the first round last year and beat Gonzaga twice in the regular season, but then lost in the WCC championship. They're very similar teams. They both like to slow the game down. But what St. Mary's did last year is they made Gonzaga shoot themselves out of the game. It was the same thing against Michigan. They went 3 for 22 from three. And then against Portland the other day, they 10 for 30 from three. I'm not going to complain about, but 18 for 26 from the line. That's not a good game. They beat themselves again. So, right, I'm not going to say that the Zags are going to drop 2 WCC games in a row, but realistically, this is the biggest game in Santa Clara basketball history. If Santa Clara fans want to point to something bigger, I will take that blow. A top 10 win, I think an auto bid would be in the bag. They would have to try and lose to do so. But I don't know. I really do see Santa Clara winning this. We've seen the flaws of Gonzaga. They know their game. They're a great team. And I can't wait to see them play in March Madness because this is a team that I'm warning everyone, they will be breaking everyone's brackets realistically. This is a legit squad. I think I'd take them over 80% of Power 4, Power 5 programs.
Yeah, I mean, I have Gonzaga. I feel like there's not a lot of things to argue about why Gonzaga would win, but I want to talk about your comparison, St. Mary's to Santa Clara. And the St. Mary's team last year beat teams that were very Akron, a team that a lot of people had that were going to be upsetting people in the bracket and winning in March Madness. Nebraska, which is just widely recognized as a good team almost every year, no matter what. Because
Nebraska,
they're in the
that
Big
is not
Ten.
true at all. Nebraska is usually terrible. They don't have a single March Madness win ever.
But they're in the Big Ten. It's hard to compare. Okay,
so is Rutgers. They suck. Nebraska is usually the punching bag.
I just feel like St. Mary's beat more teams last year than and that could prove that they're a better team than Santa Clara is this year. I feel like Santa Clara hasn't proved anything this year. Who have they beaten this year that proves that they could beat a team like Gonzaga?
They beat St. Mary's. They beat Xavier. They beat Minnesota.
Xavier's
ASU.
not a good team.
Okay, neither is Nebraska last year. You just used them as an example.
All right, but my point is that there's other teams either way.
Okay, wait. Your example of Akron, a team that's going to break some brackets, I'm going to use that. Yeah, McNeese this year. They are most definitely going to be back. And who beat them this year? I'll give you a hint. They're the Broncos, and they play in California, Santa Clara.
Yeah, I think this game – I think Santa Clara would have had a chance if Gonzaga didn't lose that last game.
That makes sense.
I think Gonzaga is going to be so focused that they're not going to drop this game. They're going to out physical. This is probably the toughest we're going to see them play all season because I know Mark Few's not happy with them, and I know that they're going to be practicing hard all week and that they're probably going to deliver on Saturday. I just think Santa Clara has got to be upset that they caught Gonzaga at the worst time. That's my take on it.
My thing with this Gonzaga team is I've turned on a few of these Gonzaga games, whether it's like 11:40 at night, which I should not be having. They beat San Francisco. I bet 99% of college basketball fans did not know they have a D1 program. They beat them by 2. They beat Seattle by 8 in overtime. They beat San Diego. I'm not talking about San Diego State. San Diego by 6. This is a Gonzaga team. This is not a Gonzaga team from last year or previous years. I love Graham Ike. He's one of my he's a top 10 player in the nation in my eyes. And I think Gonzaga does not get enough love because, they do play this phony schedule. And obviously this is the last year, obviously moving to the new good Pac-10. But this is not a Gonzaga team that I'm scared of. I think they are very much going to get upset, whether that be the first round or second round or a week from today against Santa Clara.
Yeah. Well, I do think Graham Ike is a great player, but I think that he's not the kind of player that can prevent an upset. He's not a giant center. He's a little undersized.
Yes.
And even though he's a really good player, not having a 7-footer and your two tallest players being 6'9" and 6'10".
I would compare him to like a moose man,
Yeah, he leaves you like very susceptible to upsets. And I think that Gonzaga's a team that is very susceptible to be upset, and we saw that the other night against Portland, but I just don't think it's going to happen 2 nights in a row. I think Santa Clara loses barely.
All right, quickly, since we're done with our games, I just want to mention one more game. Today, obviously, Georgetown lost to Villanova, but Georgetown was on a 4-game winning streak since Vince Iwuchukwu returned from his heart surgery, and ever since then, we've been playing like a different team, like the team we were when we beat Clemson. Villanova, you may be a Villanova fan, Max, but that was a close game, and I know that you were worried at some points that Georgetown was going to take it away.
I wasn't worried at all.
All right, but it's just like we're a different team, and I feel like we lost to UConn by 2 at home, and there's definitely a chance at some point that UConn will lose to a team like Georgetown or will lose to some sort of team like that in the Big East, and I feel like this on Valentine's Day could be the time when Georgetown may have a big upset.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to compare real quick. Georgetown, right? They beat UConn by 2 at home.
Lost.
Oh, sorry,
Georgetown
lost.
didn't beat them.
Georgetown lost by 7 to Villanova. They went into the Finn, one of, if not the best or hardest places to play. Everyone knows that place gets packed. They lost by 15. They looked terrible. I know you didn't even watch the second half. It was terrible. Caden Lewis owns Georgetown, if we're just going to get into that, but that doesn't matter for now. And then also, my other thing is, like you just said about Gonzaga, they're going to be catching UConn at the exact wrong time. I didn't watch most of that game last night. They looked terrible. Silas Demery, he's a top 15 guard in the nation, if you ask me. He had 9 turnovers. If you have 9 turnovers in a 2-game span, that's a pretty terrible stretch. 9 turnovers in one game. If I'm Dan Hurley, I don't know how you can consciously put a guard out there who is just turning the ball over constantly. And I would, had a feeling you were going to try and slip this game in there. I was going to talk about Solo Ball being the X factor. He didn't have the best game last night. Only
He
had
hasn't
8
been
points.
playing. He has not
been good at all.
Playing well. And I was watching the press conference back from the Georgetown UConn game, and it was just like he's hard to be placed out there. He has an injury. He's playing through it. Everyone's like, oh, he's playing through this injury that no one else would play through. How about you sit him for a game or two when you're playing a team like Georgetown and let him come back healthy?
So you're banking on them.
No, I feel like
the best players.
No, what I'm saying is I think they're making excuses. I just think he's not playing well, and the excuse is that he's injured. I feel like he's just not playing well this season. There's no excuse for it. They just haven't. They're a very good team. Don't get me wrong. I don't think they're as good as people think. They've won games. Yeah, a win is a win, but the margins that they win games by are not big enough for them to be a top 2 team in the nation. And I feel like
they're not going to be for long.
Yeah, I feel like at some point they'll be upset by some team.
Yeah, I think that upset was last night. I don't think they're going to – if anything, we're counting down the days till February 21st when the big, bad Huskies walk into Xfinity Mobile Center to play the fearless Wildcats.
I also wouldn't really consider St. John's beating UConn to be that.
Oh, yeah, no, that wasn't an upset at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's
St. John's is the most inconsistent team out there. They're just
not anymore, really.
I know, but
I hate both those teams so much. I think me and Jake were talking about this last night. I hate Dan Hurley so much. If he got punched in the face, I would be laughing.
I made this absurd take a few weeks back on Twitter, and I said that Ed Cooley is a better coach at doing something with nothing than Dan Hurley will ever be or has ever been, and I stand on that take.
Oh, God.
Dan Hurley.
Yeah,
Dan
yeah, I
Hurley.
know.
No. We're getting into this
I
now.
know. Okay,
Dan Hurley
go.
joined the Big East. He
Yeah.
was part of UConn when they joined back, and he joined back easily. Ed Cooley does nothing with nothing. He does nothing.
That's what I was gonna say. I was
He's
gonna
a
say there's
terrible
nothing
coach.
much.
Georgetown
He's terrible.
Okay, one sec.
Oh, they went on a
Now let
4-game
me
winning
defend.
streak?
Now you have to
Well,
let
no,
me
they went on a
defend.
4-game
No,
winning
now
streak
you
to
have to let me
improve to
defend.
5-7 in the
All
Big
right.
East.
Georgetown had Patrick Ewing as our head coach. We did not win a
Oh,
single
yeah,
game in the Big
he
East.
was awful.
Yes. Ed Cooley takes control of a team that won 0 games. Who wants to go to a team that won 0 games? Nobody. He brought in guys like Caleb Williams. He brought in Thomas Sorber, a person who was not regarded as a top player in the nation at all. He was like top 50, maybe like top 70. And
Are you saying as a prospect or?
Yeah, as a prospect.
Okay.
He is now in the NBA getting drafted, the pick outside the lottery, the 15th pick. Micah Peavy, TCU, small forward. He had no offensive game. He was solely defense, not on any draft boards. Comes to Georgetown, drafted 40th pick in the NBA draft. KJ Lewis on Arizona. He needed somewhere where he would become a NBA draft pick. He's now at Georgetown. Look at mock drafts. He's there. He's gonna be
I bet every night he goes to sleep, he just cries that he left Arizona.
No,
I disagree. He's a star player at Georgetown.
He would he would fit. Not to go off. You would have to admit he definitely does fit the Arizona roster
does
right now.
But he didn't want to be another guy in Arizona. Just like some people don't want to be that other guy at Duke. You want to be a star player, you have to go to a school like Georgetown and try and win games. Last year, just talking about Ed Cooley and how good of a coach he is, if Thomas Sorber and Micah Peavy and Jaden Epps were healthy the entire year, we would have been a March Madness team without a doubt.
Oh, no.
No.
We'd be created by 35 points.
I think you just made your argument so much worse by saying how much NBA talent that Ed Cooley's had. He's done absolutely nothing with it. I know that.
If anything, yeah.
What do you mean?
I know
He can't do anything.
I
He
know
sends
that-
them to NBA. It's their job
Yeah,
to
but
work.
that shows he's doing nothing.
I'll give you a
with
coach who sends people to the NBA and still was a top 10 coach in the nation. He might be bald. Kevin Willard. Oh, man.
something.
He does something with everything.
Yeah. All right. I mean, it's an argument, but I'm just saying Dan Hurley, we all hate him. We'd all love to see him get upset by a team, and I think
To
Georgetown
talk
can do
more
it.
about how much I hate UConn, the other week when they were playing against Villanova, every time Alex Caravan made a shot, the commentators were calling him Captain Connecticut. I don't know who gave him that nickname.
I mean,
But
there's nothing
if
really.
I lived in a
nothing
sorry
else
ass
is
state
going
like
on over there.
Connecticut and I had a captain of Alex Caravan, I would be moving out.
Nothing else is going on in Connecticut for them to root for. It's only UConn. So there's nothing else there. Who else are you going to call the
The
captain?
other thing that I've learned the more I talk to you guys is the Big East just has the highest concentration of unlikable coaches. Every single person in
I
that
hate
conference
I
is
literally
just
Kim
completely
English.
unlikable.
Oh my god.
Well, you're not going to have to hate him for long. If he has a job next year, PC is the worst college ever.
Yeah, I mean, Providence fans are calling for his head, but there are so many coaches that.
So who
I
do you
just
think
hate.
in the Big East doesn't have their job next year? English.
Okay,
Cooley.
English?
No, Cooley will.
No. Okay.
Whoa.
So,
Me and Jake made a bet on this, by the way, just so everyone knows and there's record. We made a $10 bet.
not for money, though, because we
Not
don't
for
gamble.
money. It's 10
Not for money, for
Skittles.
tokens. that Ed Cooley would be fired because there's no way they fire Ed Cooley. He just brought in a 5-star prospect in Alex Constanzo.
He also
There's
just went on a
zero way.
4-game winning streak.
Exactly, and it's big.
And then he
Well-
got ended against the best coach in the Big East.
To defend myself, I made this bet when they were 9-11 and just lost to Villanova by 15, and it's just not working
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, but losing
let's
to
talk about
losing to
Northwestern,
Villanova is the standard. Oh no! Let's talk about Northwestern.
No.
Both of our teams didn't have a coach last February. My team made the right decision. March. My team made the right decision. Kevin Willard. He's bringing us back to the promised land. And now, who knows how far we're going? Oh yeah, G stands for losing to Villanova. Wait, who'd you got? You guys hired Hauser, right?
What?
Who did Northwestern hire last year?
Chris Collins has been our coach for 13 years.
Chris Collins. He sucks. That says more. That says more.
No. But yeah, just
Tag all the
this is gonna
Northwestern fan pages.
Yeah.
They
Tag all the
suck.
Northwestern fan pages to just argue about their coach. But yeah, I mean, these are the games that people are going to be watching all week. They're the biggest games. We're going to see upsets. We're going to see some very close matchups, and that's why we chose these games. And as everyone, please like and subscribe, as well as following us on Instagram at bracketbusters.pod1. Is that or bracketbusters pod?
.pod. Also, let
pod.
us know who are the most underrated teams
And who are the
in
most
the
underrated
nation.
freshmen in the country? Who's the most underrated
Yeah.
freshman in the country?
And we're talking about basketball.
All right. All right. Thank you, everyone, for listening,
Thank you,
and please
everyone.
like and subscribe.
Are you
And
going to
that's
edit
all
that
Hoy
out?
is.
No.